Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of the English to Takeaway podcast. My name is Jordan, and I am from English Lingo or English Lingo with Jordan across social media. And I am delighted to have my co host with me.
Hi everyone, so I'm Richard, also known as the Grammar Goat on social media. Brilliant to be recording another episode of the
Indeed,
podcast.
yes, it's flying by. We're on episode 4 already, and all of the episodes so far have been really good laugh. Actually, I've really enjoyed myself.
Well, they've been they've been a really good laugh for us,
Yeah,
haven't they? We're really enjoying recording them. We hope that you're enjoying listening to them and improving your English. The general idea of the podcast is we'll chat about everyday things, about life, about internet news stories, and crucially, we'll give you some English to take away at the end of the podcast. Some words, phrases, idioms that have arisen, that have come up during our conversations.
absolutely. And just a quick note before we do dive into it. Don't forget, if you do have any ideas you want to send our way, please email us English to takeaway pod at gmail.com. So, any ideas that you have for role play situations, maybe if you have a question or you want us to cover some interesting, funny, strange internet story, maybe from your own country that we probably wouldn't know about, then send it our way and we'll be gladly taking it up and probably putting it onto the podcast as well. Indeed. What have you been doing recently, Richard? Have you done anything interesting this week?
Yeah, so well, I've been up to visit my son again in London. So my eldest son, who's studying in London, and yeah, we went to a place called Brick
Oh,
Lane, which is quite a famous street in London, and it's got lots of thrift
okay.
shops. So thrift shops selling second-hand vintage clothing, because my son is really into fashion and into vintage clothing. So yeah, we went to lots of different thrift
Nice.
shops, and I waited outside many changing rooms while my son tried on some clothes and then, showed me and got my opinion. So,
Oh,
yeah, we had a really nice time shopping. Then we went to his favorite restaurant. It's a very popular chicken restaurant called
yes.
Nando's. I'm pretty sure Jordan. Do you know Nando's? Have you been to
I've
Nando's?
been once. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so obviously other chicken restaurants are
Mhm.
available, but Nando's is my son's favorite, and they do a really interesting combination now with
Mhm.
chicken with a Fanta orange glaze
Oh,
on it.
interesting. Yeah,
Interesting,
that
right?
sounds interesting. Wow. Um,
Yeah.
don't they call it like I might be wrong here. Correct me if I am wrong, but don't they call it a cheeky Nando's?
Amazing. They do. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I think maybe it came from an advert, but they do. They say let's go for a cheeky
Ah,
Nando's.
okay.
Yeah, exactly
Yeah.
that. Um but my son, yeah, he absolutely loves Nando's. I think probably I'm one of the top UK
Wow.
customers for the restaurant because I find myself in there most weeks with my son. Yeah, he loves it.
Awesome.
So that's basically what I've been up
Cool.
to this week, Jordan. How about you? What have you been up to?
So just over the last couple of days, we've had a tropical storm in the Philippines. I think maybe some people might have seen on the news. There's been a lot of floods in certain areas. Luckily, where I live, we're pretty safe. The only things that have happened here is that a lot of trees have fallen down. The other day, we had a tree that fell and it blocked the roadway, and we were waiting to see if they were going to remove it or cut it into pieces, but they couldn't at the time because there was a live electrical wire that was stuck on the actual tree. Uh, so, yeah, highly dangerous that was. Uh,
So what happened? What happened? Did the emergency services come and remove
I
the live
I
cable?
believe so. I didn't wait around. Actually, we went back home and we decided not to go out at that time. Waited until a little bit later. Um, but yes, I believe they did. And but unfortunately, due to these sort of bad weather conditions, we've been experiencing power cuts. And last night we had one from about 9:30 or just after 9:30 p.m. all the way through to around about midday today. So sleeping was a nightmare. It was too hot. It was uncomfortable, hot and humid. Yeah, not a very good night's sleep. Unfortunately, it was pretty terrible.
I guess you could describe it as hot and sticky.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes, that's a very good way of describing it. Of course. Have you had much in the way of sort of really bad weather in the UK, like hurricanes and storms? Like, has there been much recently in the UK?
It's quite a cool conversation topic, actually, weather, isn't it? Because for British
Yeah,
people, in terms of small talk, there's always the weather in there, isn't there?
absolutely.
When you engage in small talk with someone. I don't think we have had extreme weather where I live in the UK for a long time, actually. I mean, the most we might get is some thunder or some
Yeah,
lightning, and that would be really quite something. The weather's quite constant here, to be
that's good.
honest. So, tell what about a tropical storm? Can you go out? Can you go outside during a tropical storm? Is it
You,
so extreme that you have to stay in and batten down the
oh, I
hatches?
love that. Yes. So you can go outside. I think some people do just for necessities. But I think it's best if you don't, just because of the strong winds can really basically take out a tree. They can even uproot trees as well. So you're looking at maybe getting hit by a tree if that does happen. So uh, I would probably advise people to stay indoors. I look out the window. That's about as much as I do. I look out the window and listen. Oh, okay, it's raining. Yeah, let's stay indoors.
I think probably the most extreme weather we get in the UK is snow, I guess, in the winter
Yeah.
because I mean, my wife is from a Slavic
Mm,
country, Poland, where it snows every winter. And even with a few feet of snow, life in Poland continues as
right.
normal. People put winter tires on their
Mm,
cars. In fact, I think they drive quicker, faster in the
wow.
snow than without snow for some reason. But, the trains run perfectly, the buses run perfectly. In
Yeah.
England, even with a light dusting of snow, everything stops. The trains stop, the buses stop, people can't go to work. It's ridiculous, really. We're not very good as a country at dealing with
Yeah.
extreme weather.
People phone in and say, "I can't come to work today. It's snowing."
Yeah, exactly. A great reason not to go into the
do,
office.
do you ever
Um,
like? I'm showing my age now, but do you ever remember um, listening to the radio in the morning to see if your school was closed due to some kind of like frozen heater system, or that something like a burst pipe or something like that, I would always listen to the radio, like really just praying and hoping that my school was on on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. That's a real trip down memory lane.
Yeah,
Actually, I do remember that. At breakfast, you'd wake up, you'd see a little bit of snow, and you'd think, "Oh my goodness, maybe just
yeah,
maybe my school is going to be closed." And yeah, you'd listen to the local radio. I
absolutely.
remember that.
Yeah, that was that was always a fun experience, trying or willing your school to be closed. Actually, I think mine was once because um, the water tank had frozen overnight, so we couldn't get any heating into the school. So that was one time that I remember we didn't go to school, which was good.
I bet that was a celebration then in your house. I bet you were over the moon with
I was
that.
indeed. Yeah, it was. Um, it wasn't so much of a celebration for my mum, because
True.
most parents don't have the luxury of staying home. They might have to go to work, and yeah, she wasn't particularly happy, I think, on that day.
No, I bet she wasn't. I bet she wasn't. It's quite funny, isn't it, going from tropical storms to English winters and snow and things like that. Have you been up to much else, Jordan, this week? Have you been to the gym?
Yeah.
Because we talked last time, didn't we, about your new
Mhm.
hobby,
Yeah.
going to the gym. Have you managed to get to the gym a few
Yeah.
times?
So I've been, I think, two or three times, but during the storm, I haven't bothered. Fingers crossed, tomorrow everything will be a little bit better, and I can go again tomorrow. But yeah, I've been a couple of times. Um, it's it's just nice to get back into it, really. And I was saying to my dad the other day that when you haven't done something for a long time that you did previously, you realize that, okay, this is really, really good, and it's fun, enjoyable. I just get to, in a way, space out and not really think about anything. I sometimes just, I'm in the gym doing my sets, and I'm looking ahead, not really thinking about anything. It's quite nice, actually, to be honest.
It's almost like a form of meditation,
Hmm.
isn't it? I think when you're exercising sometimes, yeah, you can disconnect and just focus on the exercise that you're doing and yeah, leave all of the other stress and things from life behind. So,
Absolutely.
oh, that's great to hear that you're enjoying the gym, Jordan.
100%.
Well done. That's
Yeah,
brilliant.
and luckily, like, I think the gym that we've joined, it's maybe similar to what you mentioned the other day, is that it's never overly busy. It's not like it's you go there and it's rammed full of people. It's actually quite nice. I've only ever seen maybe a handful of people, three or four other people in there at one time. So yeah, it's not
Wow.
it's not overcrowded. It's actually, yeah, quite chilled. It's all right, actually. It's quite nice. So no, I'm looking to go definitely three times a week, and I think that would be really, really good, as you said, for the mostly the mind and also the body as well.
Absolutely. Ha- is there a cafe there or somewhere you can get a protein shake
Yeah,
or get a post workout snack?
yeah, they do have a cafe that is connected to it. Yeah, they've got like the coffees, they've got the protein bars. Um, they do have like the powder, the protein powder, the shakes and things. So yeah, if you want to, definitely you can. Are you into all of the supplements as well? Do you take a pre workout and a post workout supplement?
I used to when I was younger, when I was in my 20s and 30s, when I was really training quite seriously, actually. I used to do all of the pre-workout and buying the protein powder and having the shakes and things like that To be honest, I don't really do that much now. I tend to try and get my protein from real food rather than getting it from the protein
Mhm.
powders. But I used to do all of that when I was younger. I wouldn't recommend the pre-workout though, because some of the pre-workout shakes and things you can buy, they've got so much caffeine in that you can be awake for seemingly days after you've taken
Wow.
it. So I'd be careful.
Wow. Are they are they all like just full of caffeine? Like the idea of them is to kind of perk you up and make you sort of wide-eyed and awake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they've got lots of different chemicals
Right.
in them, including lots of caffeine. So the name of the pre-workout will tell you everything. So the pre-workout I used to take was called Raging Beast. So I think that there's no more explanation needed, I don't think. So you had a shot of Raging Beast, and then you'd have to be dragged out of the gym about 6 hours later, as you were doing your 18th set on the bench press.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, I'm not gonna repeat any pre-workout nowadays. I'm far too
Fair
old
enough.
for that,
It
Jordan, I
sounds
think.
it sounds more like an illegal substance than anything else, to be honest.
I think it may well be illegal nowadays, actually, that one. I'm not sure it's on sale
Yeah.
anymore. I, I don't know exactly what was in it, but it certainly did the trick.
Yeah, of course. So I think,
Um,
um, yeah, caffeine is one of those things that I'm all right if I have a cup of coffee in the morning. No problem. I'm all right and I can function. But if I have a cup of coffee, let's say mid to late afternoon, that's it. My sleep is done. I'm awake. I probably will fall asleep but wake up again quite quickly. Yeah, I need to avoid having any caffeine later on in the afternoons. To be honest, stick to the mornings for me. Otherwise, my sleep is just all over the place. It's terrible.
so one thing I can't live without is definitely coffee. I absolutely love my coffee, and I have a coffee in the morning as well. I can't
No,
really operate without my morning
yeah,
coffee. But then, like, I have a coffee in the evening normally, and it doesn't affect my
wow.
sleep. I quite like coffee in the evening. Maybe it's the after effects of the Raging Beast days that my body still needs that caffeine hit before bed. I don't know, but yeah, I need that
that that
caffeine.
could be your new venture of creating your own coffee, but calling it the Raging Beast. You know, that could be a nice coffee brand that you've got there going.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing I've been doing this week is looking at puppies,
Mm,
because quite excitingly in my family we're going to be getting a puppy in the new year.
great.
So by the new year, of course, I mean in
Yes.
January. So I've started doing some research and some investigating into getting a puppy. So yeah, we're really excited as a family about
Are there any
that.
breeders around where you live, or do you have to go far away to get to a breeder that you want to buy a puppy from?
I think we're quite open to traveling.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we've got our hearts set on
Yeah.
A Labrador Retriever. We don't mind which color, we don't mind where we get it from, but we just like a Labrador Retriever. So I think it will depend on where there are puppies at the time we want to
Yeah.
get one, which is going to be quite soon actually, because in the UK, you're not allowed to take a puppy until it's over 8 weeks
Yes.
old. So we've got a bit of time to wait between when it's born to when we can collect
Yeah.
it.
They usually quite often they pre-sell the puppies, don't they? They um from what I remember is that they they have an estimation of maybe the litter size, and then they will pre-sell some of the males, the females, to people who want them. So yeah, that's an I think that's a good way of doing it, because it leaves you with a lot of time to prepare and get everything all ready for the puppy, which is good.
Yeah, exactly. And do all the
Mm.
research on social media as well, because there's lots of really useful tips and information on TikTok and on Instagram, on YouTube. So I'm going to be watching lots of puppy videos in the next month or so to learn about how to look after a puppy. So I'm quite excited
Are
about it.
you going to train the puppy yourself, or are you going to go to puppy classes?
I think I'm going to do a bit of both
Okay.
actually, because I want my kids to be involved in that. So we'll definitely do some training at home, but also, yeah, I want to go to puppy
Yeah.
school or puppy classes, absolutely, to socialize the puppy and also to learn myself
Yes.
with my kids how to how to train it, because that's so important, isn't it?
Yeah, and Labradors are incredibly smart and intelligent dogs, and I think they can they can generally learn quite a lot and quite quickly. So yeah, that should be great fun to get everyone involved in the actual like learning process of training the dog. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. When you were growing up, did you have dogs, or did you have you ever um, trained a puppy? And
No, my dad had a puppy. I can't remember when he had his first one. Maybe that was maybe 20 years ago, something like that. So yeah, I wasn't growing up with dogs, and they took um, they took their dog to like puppy classes, and had it trained and everything, and it seemed to work wonders, because my dad could go for walks with the dog and not use a lead, actually. So it was
wow,
really amazing. Like my dad always took the lead with him, and when necessary, put the dog on the lead. But generally, the dog would keep by his side and would walk along, you know, nicely. Wouldn't go charging off, um, unless he probably saw a hedgehog, I think. Uh, yeah, I think he had a vendetta against hedgehogs. Yeah,
really?
I think so. Uh, yeah, for some reason, I don't know why.
Maybe he was sort of pricked by a hedgehog when he was a young puppy, and then he was scared of them.
Possibly,
Maybe.
yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, really well behaved, actually. So yeah, like puppy classes, puppy school, it does work. It works wonders, I think, and yeah, it'll be interesting to train the dog to be behaved, of course.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, when we get our puppy, I'll definitely bring it onto the podcast to get it to meet you. Absolutely. So
Awesome,
that'll be in the new year in January. That'll
that'll
be
be cool.
nice.
Do you do you have any names that you're floating around at the moment, or are you going to wait until you see it to think about a name?
We've got a few ideas, but I think we're going to wait until we actually find the
Yeah,
puppy and meet it and bring it home, and then we'll probably decide on the
fair
name.
enough.
So yeah, the name is coming soon, I
Awesome,
think.
awesome.
Um,
Yeah, I think names are
talking,
funny, aren't they? Like we maybe a lot of people sometimes are a little bit confused as to why do we name our animals. And yeah, nowadays we're we're humanizing our animals a lot. That's why we give them names. That's why we call them he and she, because it doesn't feel right, because we know that it's a boy or it's a girl, and yeah, that's why a lot of people nowadays use the he she pronouns for animals, which is yeah a big change from years back.
Very true. And in the UK, especially, dogs and cats are definitely the most popular pet, and they really do become members of the family and do everything with some families. So our dog will very much become a member of our family, I hope. And you've got a new member of your family, haven't you? Because I saw on your Instagram
Yeah.
story this morning that you've had a new addition to your herd of goats. You told us about, was it Zeus last
Oh,
time?
yes,
Was it
yeah.
Zeus the goat?
Zeus was the first one that was born. He's 1 month old now. Since then, we have now added another five, so we've got six kids now. Yes, and two were born today. Um, we have a new male and new female. So in total, we've got four male and two female kids at the moment.
If you've just joined the podcast, sorry to interrupt, Jordan. Kid is the name for a baby goat. So don't be fooled thinking that Jordan has got all of these kids running around. Um,
Yes, yeah,
so, so if you've just joined us, yeah, mate, like adult goat and a kid
yeah,
is a baby, isn't
yeah.
it? That's quite
Ima-
important to mention.
Imagine that. Like, yeah, I can understand that if people are listening and they hear me say, "Oh yeah, we've just got five new kids." Where like, how did you acquire five new kids from somewhere?
Yeah, exactly. And well, I also love the fact that we talk about goats every week on the podcast as well. I'm sure that there's no other podcast on the planet that mentions goats
Yeah,
every single
it,
week. It's a great feature. We should make it a permanent feature now of
it's
the
like
pod.
a goat update. Like what's been happening in the goat world.
Yeah, exactly. Have you named the new kid, the new goat yet?
No, not yet. We I think we will probably name her in the next couple of days. My daughter has been assuming the role of naming most of the goats at the moment. She comes up with some random things, so I'm not sure that we'll go along with them. They can be a little bit strange, so I think at the moment she's got a fascination with My Little Pony, so she seems to be using the names from My Little Pony to name the goats. So yeah, I'm not sure which one she will come out with for this one, but I'm sure it will be connected to My Little Pony in some way, shape, or form.
I personally think you should just go with whatever your daughter suggests. I think that's incredible to have those creative original names. But
Yeah,
oh, that's lovely, lovely that your daughter names them. That's really
but it,
really
it, it
nice.
seems a bit weird like when you're when you're calling a goat Twilight Sparkle. Um, you know,
Not very manly either, Jordan, is it? When you're calling across
yeah,
the farmyard or the place where they live, you're calling out
yeah,
Twilight Sparkle, come
yeah.
here.
It doesn't really
Um,
fit you know, the actual demeanor of what we want to be doing. But in
yeah.
any way, it's fun because I love it that she gets involved and she is that she's one of the first ones to try and feed them. She helps out a lot. She's great with them, to be fair, and she loves it. She really enjoys herself. It's nice.
I actually love the name Twilight Sparkle. That's actually on the list for the puppy now. I actually love that name. Maybe you should just go with it, Jordan. That's a brilliant
Yeah.
name, I think, for a goat. Amazing.
Indeed. Cool. Do you
We've
oh go ahead.
sorry, go
Do you
ahead.
have any
Go ahead, Jordan.
stories for us this week? Any interesting internet media that you found out?
I
Okay.
have. It's quite a light-hearted, not serious story this week, but it is a true
Okay.
story. So it's about a Russian
Yes.
engineer he's spent six
Hmm.
years building a real-life Iron Man suit. So I'm quite a huge fan of Marvel and the Avengers movies, and I saw it on TikTok. This Russian engineer, 6 years in his garage, developing this real life Iron Man suit with hydrogen powered muscles that contract when he moves, with sort of a hydrogen shooting out of his hand to cause like a force coming from his hand to knock things
God.
over, and even sort of burners on his hand as well to burn into
Wow.
things. And now he's creating a suit to exactly perfectly mold to his
Yeah.
body. And I loved that story, and I wanted to ask
Yeah.
you, this is such a important question, that I've been dying to ask you. Um, if you could be an
Yes.
Avenger, what Avenger would you
I
be?
don't know why, but I've always had uh, an affinity to the Hulk. I love the Hulk. Um, I just think that the Hulk is, you know, very unpredictable. You know, he's got this kind of like mean streak in him, but he's also got like the sensitive side as well. So I kind of like the storyline and the character of the Hulk. I would say he's definitely the one that I would choose. I do like Iron Man. I must admit, Iron Man is probably a close second. But yeah, I would say the Hulk edges it for me. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, cool.
Indeed.
No, I think for me it's got to be Iron Man. For me, Iron Man is the
Yeah.
coolest, just because he can pretty much do everything. Maybe the other one would be for me Spider Man,
Ah,
just because he is also very, very cool, and I like how he gets about town. You wouldn't have to rely
yeah,
on Ubers or taxis or public transport if you were Spider
of
Man.
course. But another reason why it would be good to be Tony Stark and Iron Man is uh, he's um, he's worth a few bob or two, isn't he? He's not hard up, but he's quite wealthy actually.
Nice, and he also wears the
Ah,
glasses, doesn't he?
yeah,
Like me, so
yeah.
I could get the Tony Stark
There
glasses
we
as
go.
well.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah. Do you
that
think
was that was my story, Jordan.
I
Sorry,
was
go
going to
ahead.
say, just to ask about the story, do you think after he creates this suit, will defense ministers and do you think other sort of organizations will try and pick his brains and look towards him to create something for um like um military use and things like that? Like, where do you think something like this will go in the future?
I'll be honest with you, Jordan. If someone has spent 6 years locked in a
Yes.
garage developing a suit, I might not have a lot of trust in them, to be honest, to give them a military contract. I think, but no, I'm only kidding. We talked last week, didn't we, about AI and would you trust
Yeah.
AI and where AI is going? I guess in terms of this kind of thing, you never know, do you, in the future where technology is going and what they're able to develop nowadays in terms of the military and things like that. So Yeah, who knows? It's very interesting to
I
see
agree.
and very impressive that he's managed to design this himself in his
Yeah,
garage.
I think that's the impressive but also scary part as well. That somebody with good skill, but perhaps doesn't have the backing of a huge organization, can still create something so unique and usable. Like I'm sure many people have tried to make Iron Man suits, but this is the first one that can actually be worn and used.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that story definitely caught my eye this week when I was scrolling through
Absolutely. Yeah,
TikTok.
cool.
How about you, Jordan? What have you got this week in terms of your
So
story?
it's a little bit of a controversy. We haven't done one of these yet, actually, so it's an interesting topic, and maybe you've seen it, and I'm sure possibly a lot of listeners have also seen it as well. Is the new product that has been launched from KSI, a British YouTuber, Logan Paul, of course, American YouTuber, and Mr. Beast, one of the biggest creators on YouTube. The product is called Lunchly, um, which is in direct competition with Lunchables, where you can basically stack like ham and cheese on top of each other and eat it as a lunchtime meal, I suppose. Um, but the problem that people are having with this is that they're basically marketing it as a healthier opportunity or healthier choice, as opposed to Lunchables. But it also includes Prime, which is very high in sugar, and a Feastables chocolate bar, which also contains sugar as well. So that is one sort of element of controversy, and the other part is that it's 200 and maybe 235 calories, or um, the the highest calorie option is around like 260 possibly. I can't remember exactly. um, and many people are worried about kids eating this for lunch and not getting the calories that they need. So um, yeah, it's an interesting, I think, move from those creators to try and do this, and it's been really, really controversial at the moment. And have you seen it? Are you aware of this?
Yeah, it's been all over social media, hasn't it? And my kids have been talking about it as well quite a lot. And I know at school they've been talking about it with their
Mm,
friends as
yeah.
well. Um, yeah, for me, the I guess the calorie thing is quite worrying because you know kids obviously need calories, don't they,
Yeah,
to grow. So
absolutely.
um, I'm not sure they did their research, did they, when they were looking into the nutritional value of the
Yeah,
product.
I'm.
I personally wouldn't give my kids lunchly for lunch.
Yeah, I just I think that it's not sustainable for a meal. And I think the price point is around like $5 or something for like one serving, and that's quite expensive for a snack, effectively. And yeah, I don't I don't agree with it, to be honest. I think this is definitely a mistake on their part, and probably for those three creators, I think they're going to get a lot of negativity from a lot of nutritionists and dietitians, parents as well, of course. I think that, yeah, that's going to be possibly a big problem for them in the future. So yeah, I think it's maybe a little bit of a mistake from them.
I agree. Maybe they will reassess the product and maybe they'll change it and come out with a healthier
Yeah,
version in the future.
absolutely.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but
On that sort of note, what do you think about creators and launching products? Because we've got many creators now on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, etc. How do you feel about the creator or influencer products that are usually released?
well, I think it's probably a natural evolution, isn't it? If someone becomes very popular on social media and then wants to generate a new income
Mm,
stream, they will probably come up with a product to sell. I guess if it's a good product and it's sold if it's made properly and sold ethically, then I don't have a problem with it. But I think probably things would be, problematic if you've got a very, very
mm,
famous creator that people trust and listen
yeah,
to selling something that is misleading or that doesn't do what it says it should do.
absolutely.
Then of course I wouldn't buy it. I would have a problem with
Yeah.
that. What do you think? What's your opinion on
I
this?
tend to agree with that actually. I think that creators making products is not a bad thing, um, as long as they are using their audience as a way of creating something for them, and not necessarily just trying to get money from their audience. I mean, they should be looking to enhance the lives of their followers, their subscribers, etc., and try to benefit them more than the idea of getting money from them. I think one creator that I must say that I think created a really interesting product, and I think he's pretty big on TikTok, and that is Bayashi. Um, he's the Japanese guy that does a lot of the cooking ones, and he brought out a set of knives. I think I think it was a set of knives. He brought out something useful, and I watched a review of the product, and they said that the material, the product itself, was of utmost quality. It was absolutely top notch, and they couldn't fault the product at all. So I think somebody like him, um, yeah, you can definitely see the right way to do it, of course, and I think that's definitely the best way to to try and make something that is beneficial for whoever is watching the content.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, there's the word, isn't there?
Mm,
Merch, short for
yeah.
merchandise. That creators often try and sell. They have their merch. Have you ever thought about selling any merch, Jordan? Or what do you think you might in the future?
No, I've never thought about it actually. I don't I don't know what I would put on my merch, to be honest. I think just personally from me, I think if I sold merch, I think it would be I would feel a little bit cringe, to be fair. Um, that
Explain what
yeah.
cringe means, because that's a great word.
So cringe is where you feel like uncomfortable when doing something or sometimes seeing something. You might hear cringe when you're watching someone else and maybe they're talking about something and someone will say, "Oh, that's a bit cringe," meaning it makes them feel uncomfortable and um, not not a pleasant feeling, of course. So I think I would feel like that if I sold merch. What about yourself? Would you sell the grammar goat merch?
I think similar to you, if I were to sell like a full size inflatable goat, for example, I think that would be quite unethical and a bit cringe, wouldn't
Yeah,
it? Whereas if I sold a grammar book, then that would probably be more sort of meaningful and useful
yeah,
for my community. I'm not selling a grammar book, by the way, and I'm not selling an inflatable goat. But
yeah.
who knows in the future? Who
Get
knows?
get your inflatable goats for Christmas.
You've heard it here
In-
first. Exactly.
instead of reindeer, you get your inflatable goats at Christmas time.
Exactly. And and we're talking about goats again. This is
Yeah,
unbelievable. We need to start thinking about changing the name of the podcast, maybe, getting a goat in there. That's it's a great story that you've brought this week. A real hot
yes,
topic at the moment, isn't it,
absolutely.
on social media?
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant one.
I
Very
think
good.
I think another a good word that we can use is that we can say it's a trending topic as well. So yeah, hot topic and trending topic as well can go nicely. Kind of they're a little bit synonymous with each other, aren't they? Which is good to use. But yeah, it's
Yeah, definitely.
interesting. Shall we dive into a role play?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So yeah, you mentioned at the beginning that people can email us in.
Yes.
Um, so English to takeaway pod at gmail.com. This week we've had an email from
Yes.
Tomek, and he would like a role play in a
Cool.
restaurant. So how to
Hmm.
politely order food, and also maybe how to politely complain.
Yes.
I think
All right.
as English teachers, we must have both done English lessons about making complaints in the past. It's quite a
Absolutely.
fun topic, isn't it? What I always ask you, so I won't break tradition. Who would you like to be, Jordan, in the role
Uh,
play? Would you like to be the customer or the waiter?
I because I was the grumpy hotel customer before. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to be the waiter for this one. Yes,
Okay, so I'll be
you
the
can.
customer.
Yes,
Fine.
and you
All
can
right.
complain as much as you like. It's no problem at all.
All right. Cool. So maybe shall I order food first and then I'll do the
Perfect.
complaint?
Sounds good. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Take it away.
Um, are you ready to order, sir?
Yes, I am. Thank you. What's the soup of the day?
So the soup of the day is tomato and basil.
I noticed you didn't ask me if I had any allergies.
No, no, I didn't. I do apologize. Do you have any allergies, sir?
I don't have any allergies.
Oh,
No.
okay, that's great. Okay, good. Um, so
Do you have any other soup?
yes, we do. We have a nice clam chowder that was freshly made this morning.
I'll take the clam chowder then,
Okay, one
please.
clam chowder.
And does it come with bread?
Yes, it comes with a side of bread. Uh, if you would like, we can toast it for you, or you can have it as it is. Which would you prefer?
I don't want it toasted, thank you. So just as
Okay,
it is.
no
Thanks very
problem.
much.
And for your main
Um,
course?
could could I get the steak, please, cooked
Oh
medium?
yes, so one medium steak, right? And what would you like with your steak? Well, you have a couple of options. You can have chips. You can have mashed potato, or a baked potato.
Do you have rice?
Um, I can certainly sort that out for you. It's not on the actual menu, but I'm more than happy to sort it out for you. Yes.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
So steak medium with rice, and uh, how about any vegetables? Would you like some roasted vegetables, or would you like salad? What would you like as your vegetable side?
Just as it is, please, with the steak and the rice. But can you make sure that the steak's cooked medium?
Mhm.
Because I remember I've been here before and it was well
Oh,
done, and I don't like well done.
okay, no problem, sir. I will definitely make sure to let the chef know to cook it medium for you, of course. Um, all right.
Thank you.
And what can I get you for a drink?
Just a glass of water, please. Just still mineral water. Thank you.
Okay. Would you like any ice and lemon with your water?
No, thank
Okay,
you.
no problem. So let me just repeat your order. That is one clam chowder with just the bread as it is. And you would like the steak cooked medium with rice and one still water with, sorry, as it is, with no ice and lemon, of course. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Thank you.
Wonderful. I will, of course, be back with your drinks in just a moment. So please wait just a couple of minutes. All right. Here is your water, sir. Your
Thank you.
your clam chowder will be just a couple of moments. So I'll be back with the clam chowder in a couple of minutes.
If you could, because I've been waiting quite a long time. I've been waiting for 20 minutes.
Yes,
So
I do apologize. I'll be onto that straight away, of course. So, yes, I'll
thanks.
go and get it right away for you. Uh, okay, sir.
Thank you.
Here is your clam chowder and your bread. Okay. Um, if you have uh, anything that you would like, please let me know, and I'm more than happy to help you.
Sorry to say this, but there's an insect. There's an
Oh,
insect in my
oh,
chowder.
really? Oh, I do apologize. Um, I will go and replace it for you. I'll go and get you another one, of course, right away. I'm terribly sorry for that, sir. I do apologize. So yeah, bear with me, and I will go and grab you one more clam chowder, of course. Um, Sorry, sir. Here is your clam chowder, and I've checked. There are no bugs in it, no insects this time. And once again, we sincerely apologize for.
No extra protein in this one, then.
No, sir, there is not. No. Yes.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
All
Thank
right.
you. Great, 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 Jordan. I tried to be a difficult customer, but it was difficult. I mean, I'm a typical sort of British person. Find it very difficult to
Yeah.
complain in a restaurant, even if my meal is absolutely
Mm.
terrible. I'll always say that it's lovely when the waiter or waitress asks me. I don't know if you're the
Yeah,
same.
I think I don't like sending things back or complaining because you're because you're not sure on. I know this sounds a bit strange, a bit weird, but you're not sure what is going to happen if you do send it back, to be fair. I know that's a very cliche thing to think about, but I do worry about it. And yeah, there could be certain things that go on in the back that you don't know about. And yes, it's not something that I would do. Definitely not.
No, exactly, and it was interesting at the start of the role play because like I asked you, I was being difficult and a bit rude, and I said, "Oh, well, you didn't ask me if I have any allergies," and you kind of froze. So were you sort of shocked at how direct and rude I was being, or
Yes, I was a little bit taken aback by it because I had never really been asked that before, actually. So I think even in my experience, I wouldn't have thought about it. So yeah, it was really interesting to actually hear that. Have you had that before in restaurants?
well, I mean, on a serious note, it is actually in the UK. You're asked that everywhere now,
Wow, wow.
in cafes, in in a Starbucks, in a Costa Coffee, in a restaurant, wherever you are, wherever you're ordering food and drink,
Right.
the first question you're always asked is, do you have any allergies? I think just because of accidents that have happened where people maybe haven't been asked about allergies and then they've had a serious allergic reaction to nuts or to dairy or something like that. So that's actually, I guess, from the role play, a really important question
Yeah.
to understand. If someone asks you in English, do you have any allergies? It's really important
And
that you understand.
also as well, probably from the point of view of a lot of people in other countries, they probably wouldn't even think about that either. You know, when I lived in Japan, I was never asked that. Since living in the Philippines, I've never been asked it. So I think a lot of people who live in other countries probably wouldn't even think about that question being asked to them. Um, so that's a really, really good takeaway point, actually, from that role play. Be prepared to answer the question of, yes, do you have any allergies? Yeah, it's very important indeed.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really curious as well to find out from people listening how much of the role play did you understand? Did you understand my order? Did you understand everything that I wanted? And did you understand all of Jordan's questions? I thought you did a fantastic job actually as the calm, collected, very, very polite and professional waiter there,
Yeah,
Jordan. Have you ever worked as a waiter, by the way? Because it's quite a common student job, isn't it, when you're at university to
yeah.
work as a waiter? In
No, I worked behind the bar. I was a bartender. So um, you probably know the chain of restaurants, the Harvester. Okay,
yes,
yeah.
I do.
I used to work behind the bar at one of the Harvesters. So yeah, I have had experience doing that, which is yeah, which was good. It was really fun experience actually. But we never asked about any allergies or anything like that at all.
Different times,
Yes,
isn't it, nowadays? So different times and different
very much so.
questions. Yeah,
Very much so indeed. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So, shall we do the five takeaway points from today?
absolutely. Let's
All
do
right.
it. Shall I kick
Please
off?
go
Shall
ahead.
I start? Okay. Well, I know you're the phrasal verb king, Jordan, because you love phrasal verbs and you love doing courses and videos about phrasal verbs. You used a really interesting phrasal verb at the beginning of the podcast when you were talking about the tropical
Yes.
storms and about the tree. So when a tree does
Yes.
that, it's to fall down.
Yes. Absolutely.
I thought fall down was a nice phrasal verb because maybe it could be confused with when someone is
Mm.
walking and then does
Yep.
that. So that phrasal verb for a person is fall over.
Yes.
So you've got fall down for maybe something very, very big or very tall,
Absolutely.
like a building or a
Yes.
tree, and then a person
That's
fall
right.
over.
Yes. Um, and the one that I wanted to bring up is not necessarily a particular point, but it's more of a understanding of a joke that you made, a sarcastic joke of there's no extra protein in it this time. I love that because people in England, we're very, very sarcastic people. We like to make jokes that are sarcastic, and that would be a typical situation that many people would experience. So that kind of joke is really, really important for people to get their heads around because people do use it in everyday conversations. Absolutely. So, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
nice one.
Jokes are very jokes are a great test as well, aren't they, of
Yeah.
any foreign language that you're learning. If you can understand a joke, even if you can tell a
Mm,
joke in a in another language, I think it shows a very, very good level of ability, doesn't it?
absolutely. I completely agree. It shows the level of fluency. It shows the level of understanding. Yeah, jokes are a great one. Absolutely.
The next one I had, you were talking about the
Yes.
gym, and I guess it's an adjective. So be spaced out. So you said I'm when I'm in the gym, I'm not worried about other
Yeah.
things around me. I'm just sort of thinking about the gym. So I'm quite well, I guess spaced out. How would you define spaced out? It's kind of like y- you're not really focusing on anything. You're almost like
Yeah.
in some kind of trance, aren't
And
you?
like you're kind of looking at something, but you're not looking at that particular thing. You're in a way you're looking through it, but you're not really focusing on anything. You're kind of in a bit of a daze actually, or possibly in a sense you're, I don't want to use daydreaming because that means that you're thinking about something. In this case, you're not thinking about anything. You're just staring blankly ahead and not really thinking about anything around you. Yeah, it's an interesting one actually. Yeah, spaced out is quite quite a
If
funny one to use.
I guess if you and I went to the gym, Jordan, together, if you were spaced
Yes.
out, I'd be talking to you, and you wouldn't be answering me, would you? You'd just be in another world, on another
uh,
planet, in your own
but
thoughts,
you would be on the uh, you would be on the, what do you call it, the beast, the
raging
raging beast.
beast.
There we go. You'll be too busy pumping iron.
I think also I'd be talking non-stop. I remember it used to make me talk a lot as well. So
Absolutely.
you'd be all spaced out in your own little
Yes.
world, and I'd be ranting and raving at you. Probably we'd be quite an interesting sight if we ever went to the gym
Of
together.
course, of course. Now, um, another one that I think is definitely a very important one in terms of the role play that we did as well is that when you're asking for things, right? Again, this is, I think, what a lot of learners don't do is that as a customer, you can request things that are not on the menu. So you went against what I was asking, or I was asking, would you like potatoes, this, that? And you completely ignored that and said, do you have any rice? Um, and in England, majority of the time, that's okay to do. We can ask for things that are not necessarily on the menu on that dish. But many, I think many visitors wouldn't do that. They would only stick to what they see on the menu, right? Yeah,
True. Yeah, yeah, very, very true as well. Another interesting, I guess,
cultural.
cultural thing that came
Yes,
out of the role
absolutely.
play.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a
Nice.
interesting one because many of my Japanese friends would never do that.
That's so interesting, isn't it? That's so interesting. Living in Japan, you've noticed that cultural difference. Really interesting.
So I think that's four. Did you have another one, Richard?
Yes, I had one more, something that you said, which is a little bit informal, and
Yes.
it means something of very, very good quality. So if something is very, very good quality, we say it is top notch. Like a
Aha.
meal, for example, at a restaurant. Oh, what an incredible meal. The meal was top notch.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It is used very informally, isn't it? We wouldn't really use it in any formal situation, right?
I agree. Yeah, completely agree with that. Yeah, it's informal, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic. So, those are the five takeaway points from this podcast. I think those five are really, really good. We've got a nice mixture of interesting vocabulary, some kind of cultural phrases in the jokes, and of course the changing of the menu as well. So I think that five takeaway points are very good, very, very good indeed.
Yeah, I agree. I love the last part, this English to take away. I hope everyone's found that useful and everyone has learned some new words and new expressions. Fantastic.
Awesome. And as usual, don't forget to email us with your suggestions, your topic points, or articles that you would like us to cover, and your role play topics as well, if that is something that you would like us to take a look at. The email address is English to takeaway pod at gmail.com.
Perfect. I'm glad you remembered it.
Indeed. Fantastic. So that's another episode in the bag. It's amazing.
Incredible. Another one in the bag. Yeah, another one finished. That was
Yes,
number 4. Brilliant.
indeed. Roll on number five.
Can't wait.
All right. Until next time, I'll see you later, and we'll be recording another one very soon.
See you later. Take care.
Bye
Bye.
bye.